introduce ourselves as we go here, but I'd like to call the Finance Property Committee to order at 5 PM Tuesday, August 2nd, first floor conference room, City Hall. Should be noted all members are present. Before we go, I'd like to go around the room, everybody introduce themselves.
Greg Epp, Alderman. Steve Sanger.
Raquel Boston.
Oh, Paul Shadowski. Sorry, I'm trying to record names.
Joe Bachman, Wisconsin Rapid City Times.
Cindy Sarcy.
Sue Schill.
Adam Tagan.
Joseph Alderman.
Kelly Ryan, Encourage.
Joe Eichstead, City Engineer.
Item 1, the meeting's been called to order. Item 2, consider a recommendation from Statewide Services to deny a claim from Michael Zerflu for reimbursement for expenses related to sewer lateral backups.
I guess I'll handle this one. As you see from the handout, there was, the problem was in the private lateral, sitting behind the insurance company's recommending denial, and that'll shorten up the statute of limitation to 6 months. If the claimant can still choose to pursue it, but they have a 6-month window in order to do that.
I'd like to make a motion to go with the recommendation from Statewide Services to deny the claim from Michael Zerflu.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 3, a request from Krista Kuhn, Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce, and Adam Kagan, City of Wisconsin Rapids, for approval of a special events application for the Market Block Party on August 23rd, 2016, from 4 PM to 10 PM, and August 24th, 2016, from 11 AM to 2 PM. And the listed items below, and Adam's going to talk about it anyhow, right?
Certainly. Do you need me at the table or am I okay here?
I guess you're okay if they can hear you.
All right, so basically, what we are proposing is a couple events to try and get the community aware of the redevelopment project that the city has been undertaking with the acquisitions and the demolitions down in the Triangle Block. So we're proposing a 2-part type event on the Tuesday night, which would be the 23rd. We're basically calling it a block party. It would consist of some live music from, I believe it's 5 to 7:30. We would be securing, or the chamber will be securing, a beer vendor to have beer sales. And then we are inviting basically the list of the typical Lunch by the River vendors to come and provide food during the event. Although we are going to work with them to try and get them to kind of mix up their menu a little bit. So maybe bring some things that wouldn't traditionally be Lunch by the River to help it stand out a little bit. Originally, we were hoping to be able to allow people to kind of take a look at Good Time Charlie's one last time, but on the walkthrough that occurred, I'm guessing that's probably not going to happen because they have been very thorough on their salvaging thus far, so it's probably not going to work to allow people through that building. We're also hoping to put out just a little call to the community, so if they have any memories of Good Time Charlie's or anything else on that block, events they were at, back when the fire station restaurant was there, or the original fire station, those type of things. And so we'll be asking for people to submit pictures, and then if it works out, we'll do a slideshow that's kind of showing all the different memories that occurred on that block. Not saying that we want to get stuck in the past, but it's good to recognize what happened, what it used to be, and what it could be again, is kind of the theme behind the party. And then we're going to use that time to promote the following day, which would be a Wednesday afternoon. We're basically working on what I consider a mobile food court. So again, try and get 3 or 4 lunch vendors and see how it goes having that outside of any entertainment. It would just be food vendors, so anyone working downtown would have the opportunity to basically go there, grab a bite to eat, and again, get used to seeing the Triangle as something more than what it has been over the last decade or 2. So that's basically it in a nutshell. Chamber is working with us. They're doing a lot of the promotion, so that's why they're on it. So we're working closely with them. They have applied for the picnic license to cover the beer sales on it, and then the site plan was included with it. We're basically going to somewhat secure the site. It won't be a fully fenced-in area, but we'll still have it blocked off to prevent traffic from going there and people wandering around all of downtown alcohol. So I guess that would be my attempt to summarize, and if you have any questions, I can answer them.
I'll make a motion to allow the request from Krista Kuhn, Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce, and Adam for the special events at the Market Block Party, August 23rd and 24th.
I'll second that motion. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, questions? Comment?
Should be a good event, I think, to get people in the space. Adam probably already said this, but I do think, a lot of the community's question what's happening, and I think this is a good opportunity for us, both city staff, council, and myself, to be forward and direct with the public about what we aspire to have at the site. And I think having 2 events there will get different crowds, and, there's nearly 2,000 employees that go to work every day downtown, and why not get them in a spot where they could be permanently, seeking lunch or dinner or something, or possibly living at some point when the development is realized.
Anybody else? Here we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, Adam. Item 4, review and consideration of our RFQ request for qualification to create a list of interested and qualified developers for the Triangle redevelopment project.
I think that would be me as well. So in the packet, there is at least a draft of the document that has been put together. For those of you not familiar, I'm basically proposing that we go for a 2-step process to try and attract developers. Some communities go directly to a request for proposals, which is when a developer would actually submit some conceptual plans and designs for what they envision the block to be. In my opinion, I guess I'm more comfortable doing it in a 2-stage one. This basically gets the word out about the project, and then people who are interested in any capacity can submit basically the resume, as it were, kind of like a job interview. So they would send a packet of information showcasing what they've done in the past, maybe some idea of what they would see on this development. And I think this also gives the opportunity to maybe go out to the community as well with some of the developers and things, and kind of show the community what type of people are interested in that, to get some feedback on that as well. So that can help drive the decision on who we ultimately decide to kind of shortlist as we go through the more formal RFP process. We have been in contact with a few developers who have asked to be kept in the loop. I made some contact with Baker Tilly last week, who's a financial firm who would potentially be involved with New Market tax credits if we're able to pull that funding stream into this development. And they've expressed interest in being kept in the loop, and they're going to put it out to their development partners as well. So we've been getting actually pretty good response on the people we've contacted about this project. Not saying we're going to get hundreds and hundreds of people knocking down our door, but every time we do put out feelers on it, it seems well received. So I guess, like I said, I'm proposing the RFQ just as stage 1. By no means would we be restricted to anyone who responds to this, but again, it kind of gives you a short list and allows you to narrow down on who you think. And we can have, again, a further discussion with this committee and the council at a later date to really figure out, okay, here are the developers that are interested, what is it ultimately that is going to be our final criteria when we do go for that RFP. So, I guess, if you have any questions, I can try to answer.
I do think going out with the RFQ, while there are pros and cons to maybe skipping this step, I do think given the nature of the development, the scale and the size of it, and the amount of investment the city has made in making or getting it to a point where we're at this stage, I do think having this sets the tone of seriousness to developers who have said, oh, okay, well, let us know when things are materializing. At least we've got some deadlines in place. I do think we don't want to prolong. If we have a couple of options that are palatable to the city that meet our criteria, to Adam's point, and maybe having at a future discussion around what are the elements of criteria the council feels comfortable releasing the land or turning it over to a developer at some point with, I do think that having this step, it really gives us a sense of what's possible, but also some flexibility to keep the RFQ process open, so we're not having to close the door and work with whoever might be in front of us. The timelines is a big thing with this, with New Market tax credits, but also what do the developers' project lists look like for next year? Some of the developers had their 2017 projects selected. Some may have had some fall through based on kind of following what happened in Wausau with some of the developments. That there may be other developers that may be interested now because of some of their own circumstances. So I do think Adam and I have gone through some major discussion about which route do we take, and kind of landed on the RFQ as a way to test the market, if you will, and see what it looks like.
I would add that the goal is to probably direct mail list to certain companies and others that have expressed interest, but also it would be put out on things like the American Planning Association website, and some other development, kind of general websites to get it out more at a national scale. So it wouldn't just be targeting local developers by any means.
So, just speaking for myself, I guess I'm okay with the two-step, I'm very familiar with this from work, but we're gonna get this in by October 31st, and we wanna think about 2017, how fast you gonna ask for the RFP back then?
Well, the reason that section is highlighted is because those are proposed dates in the timeline. If we want to try and be a little more aggressive on them, we can certainly adjust those as well. The reason we did, I guess I'm comfortable putting it out that far is because we still do have the demolition of Good Time Charlie's.
Sure.
We still have the phase 2 investigation and site cleanup for contamination as well. So we have that process that's running parallel with this, so. And that's gonna be one of the questions from developers, quite honestly, is the site ready to go as of today? And right now, we can't say that,
Yep.
but by that time, we should be much further down the.
I guess that's only 3 months, well, by the time you get it.
Yeah, by the time.
Council and everything, it's 2 months.
Honestly, it was
Yeah.
also making sure that you've got council review in
Sure.
there of some things, so,
Mhm.
yeah, just,
Okay.
it's conservative.
Well, I'd like to make a motion then to approve the request for qualification for the Triangle redevelopment project.
Second that. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Question for Adam, maybe, and just for the committees and opportunity to talk about it, but the zoning rewrite project has been something the planning commission is going to be spending and has spent considerable time already on, and we wanted to get that process also to a point where we have some idea of what recommendations might be had in the downtown zoning district to make sure that this development sort of sets the bar for what development might be to come in the downtown business district. So I think there's a couple of other parallel pieces behind the scenes maybe that will hopefully align with our process here.
And that process by next spring, early summer should really have, I mean, it should be substantially complete, so we'll have a good idea of what some of those pieces and recommendations from our consultant and what the plan commission is looking at. So I think we will be able to pull those out and include those in any development agreement or anything along that line.
Great. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Agenda item 5, review and consider authorizing funds to enter into a contract with Betcher Hop to perform real estate services on behalf of the city for the 8th Street South and East Grand Avenue Highway Safety Improvement Project.
So this is, it's a DOT project, A Street, East Grand, Highway Safety Improvement Project. We're in need of services to acquire temporary easements to do the construction work at that intersection. The DOT has a certified process, you have to be certified in order to do the real estate acquisition services. The staff in our department are currently certified to do that. And the contract amount is not to exceed $6,000, which we have adequate funds for in the highway rehab budget.
It is Becker Hop.
Becker Hop.
Yeah, it's Hoppy. It says Betcher. It's a K.
Actually, it's an H.
It is? Okay, on the back.
But they
it's a K.
pronounce it Becker.
Okay, so it is
The
an
K,
H.
yeah. One of,
No
yeah, I
big
think
deal.
it's
Just
H, yeah.
semantics. Not to exceed 6,000.
I'll make a motion to approve authorizing funds for the Becker Hoppy services for the 8th Street South and East Grand Avenue Highway Safety Improvement Project.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 6, a request to amend section 25.303, para 5 of the municipal code to allow leash dogs in some city parks and on the city's Ottawagan trails, as recommended by the Park and Recreation Commission. See attached ordinance.
This is something that Park and Rec approved a few months ago, and some city staff, I think there were members of the police department and parks, and others met and kind of went through all of the different parks that we have and the different trails, and came up with a list of ones that it would be recommended to be permissible to have dogs. And those are listed. They would still need to be on a leash, except in the Tails and Trails Dog Park. There's an off-leash area. The main, the trails that go through some of the parks, we're basically recommending all of the walking path or Ottawagham trails in the city and within 10 feet of trails, knowing that, you know, dogs sometimes aren't going to stay right on the trail, and allow them to walk off a little bit if they need to do their business and such. The city would then be posting signs, providing waste stations along the trails and in the parks. Fairly common in other cities. But actually, right now, our ordinance says no dogs in any park or on any trail. And I think there are some that do that, but there's not any waste stations or anything, so I think it actually wouldn't be a bad thing.
I don't know what you mentioned, you don't see many really, but there are some.
Dogs on the trail? Some?
Well, I'm not
Lots.
saying Mickey Dolan, but I'm just saying there are some.
Well, I'm surprised that the dog park technically is covered, huh?
Well, it's a park, so we have to specifically say
Yeah,
the dogs
so-
are allowed in that park, and then without a leash in the unleashed area, so.
Have you gotten calls from
I'd
residents
like the
about
ordinance
this?
for the whole city,
Not
so
one.
you gotta pick it up, that'd be better.
Only
We do
because.
have
Well, it
one-
still
we do
says
have
that
one
you have
nobody
to-
follows now.
Only
Yeah.
because I know we've gotten I get calls on my radio show regularly about this, especially because we don't allow it today, and police department can't enforce it because people are knowingly violating it, I guess, and things, so I was just curious.
I get it more around the neighborhood, like, not picking up.
Oh, yeah.
And this does provide that you need to pick it up immediately.
You're not intentionally using your lawn as a pet waste area?
And I took out, there's some fencing requirements and pen requirements, and that's already contained in a newer fence code, so I took that out. I changed the statute number, which had been changed. I took out seeing eye dogs and changed to service animals. I took out about the restaurants and stuff. There are already state laws regarding dogs in certain public areas. Actually, in Wisconsin, you can get a variance to allow a dog to be in an outside area, and there are certain rules regarding that, and that's why you see sometimes that some restaurants allow that, which, we would defer to the state law then that basically would allow restaurants to get that variance for outdoor areas. We put on here January 1, it's, there's gonna be some time if there's a first reading of the ordinance and it doesn't pass unanimously, it might be a second reading that takes you into September. We have to order the waste station and materials and the signs. And I think what Tim suggested is that might as well just be part of the budget for 2017, that the Parks Department, or I guess would be the one to budget and figure out how many signs and where, and then that would all be ready for January 1.
All right, I'll make a motion to amend the municipal code to allow leash dogs in some city parks and on cities' Ottawagan trails as recommended by the Park and Rec Commission for the attached ordinance.
Have a dog one, and I'll second that.
Full disclosure.
I already disclosed it, I've been on the trails.
I've used a dog in a trail too. Violated the ordinance.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or comments?
I'd just like to make a comment that now that this is passed in this committee, people maybe will notice it now, because I can see both sides, people being very in favor of this and very opposed. And so hopefully they will call their aldermen and let them know how they feel. So that's all I have to say.
I've gotten commentary to the contrary as well, saying.
That's why I let them know how I feel.
As a dog.
No, you're right though, because it's a change, so. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thanks, Sue. Item 7, I told this to you to get to this sooner or later. Request for approval of a Class B beer license and a Class B liquor license filed by Holly Rocks Bar LLC, Para Steven Sanger agent, doing business at Holly Rocks for the premises located at 114 2nd Street North.
Sure you wanna do this? I'm just kidding, totally kidding.
Do you want to say anything? or-
Yeah, we're really not gonna change a whole lot. We're gonna keep on doing what Tom has started with the live music and the weekly Monday jam session that people seem to like. We're gonna try to probably do a few more things with craft beer, make it more of a craft beer bar, maybe hopefully get some additional taps eventually. Also, we'd like to continue his work on the kitchen and get that going. Might be a little while, but we do plan on completing that kitchen and offering food at what point. Besides that, we're gonna have pretty much all the same staff, same manager, which is her.
We would like to keep food later at night too.
Mm.
Like I said, that way just cut down on the drinking and driving, offer a late night menu, keep it open, that way gives people the option to sober up, you know. just
Something
be
simple till
careful.
1:30 in the morning, probably. Probably start serving, you know, in the afternoon. Might not do a lunch, we might just do a early supper. We might do lunch too, it's all not open yet. But, yeah, basically, you know, do a couple cosmetic things in there, but not really change much what's going on there, because it is a good bar in town.
Good call, yeah. Anybody
And I
else
think
got-
taking it over at a good time, I mean,
Yeah,
in terms
yeah.
of businesses you could step into, that'd be a tough business to step into if there wasn't a
Yeah.
steady, you know, stream of income, and I think that, I would consider that one of the stable bars in the downtown area.
Mhm. Anybody else got questions? I'd make a motion for approval of Class B beer liquor license and beer license and Class B liquor license filed by Holly Rocks Bar LLC, Steve Sanger, agent, doing business at Holly Rocks for the premises located at 114 2nd Street North.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 8, beverage operator license applications, new and renewals. We all looked at them. All good? Yep.
I'll make a motion to accept the beverage operator license applications, the new and renewals as presented.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 9, audit the bills. Y'all saw the bills. Thanks, Tim, for ahead of time.
So hopefully I get the numbers right this time, but.
Yeah, because I got a new one for you, a new twist on this too. So it'll be about, yeah, it'll be check number 64-249 to 64-572. And manual checks number 99096 to 99109. What those manual checks are is we do ACH payments,
Just
and then we enter them to the system and assign the manual numbers. And
No,
you'll see them at the end of the
Yeah, the
report.
oldest one's at the end.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why they have the dates or not.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills, checks number 64249 to 64572, and manual checks 99096 to 99099.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second on the audit of bills. Further discussion? Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried. Item 10, para A, in open session, the committee may vote to go into closed session under section 19.85, para 1, para E of the Wisconsin statutes, which reads, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public property, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business, whatever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, and under section 19.85, para 1, para F of the Wisconsin statutes, which reads, considering financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons. Para B, in closed session, the committee will discuss the status of a promissory note from ECC Corrosions, Inc. and a request to extend the terms of the promissory note dated September 15, 2015. Para C, the commission may return to open session and may take action or may make recommendations regarding item 10, para B. With that, I look for a motion to go into closed session.
Motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Motion to go into closed session. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are now in closed session.